Afternoon, ladies and gents. Welcome to an 18 market snapshot. We're going to have a look back and a recap of what happened with the RBNZ, who were out last night with their interest rate decision. Now, as expected, it was a 50 basis point hike up to 2%. However, what's interesting is their forward guidance going forward. They are committed to getting inflation back within their target of 1 to 3%, and in order to do that, we're going to see the OCR rate predicted to 2.68% in September of this year, then 3.88% in June of 2023, peaking at 3.95% again in 2023, with then a look to potentially cut in 2025 back to 3.51. Now that's of course a long way out, 3.51 and 2025. There's a lot of water to go under the bridge first, but nonetheless it is still a very hawkish tone in the short term, and we can see the overnight move. Here's the reaction. It's a beautiful move actually from a technical and fundamental. So Kiwi dollar in focus here, 30-minute chart. We can see some of these key levels which are being tested. Nice clear uptrend in play. We actually had a pretty reasonable fib retracement from the low up to the high, just dipping down into that 50-61% region. Now of course that fib retracement, no, not really the driving force this move higher. Of course, it's the far more hawkish RBNZ, but certainly nonetheless the low of the day being tested, and then we saw this aggressive move higher. Now that more risk-on mood halted by the round number up through here, but also just for the European session this morning, we saw some of the risk currencies and also the risk assets take a little bit of a hit. We can just see the S&P 500 here. Again, 30-minute chart, just ran off the highs here. We peaked up around 39.70. We've dipped down now into some of these previous lows. So looking back to sort of the lows which were set in on Monday and Tuesday, we've tested those perfectly. It's around 30, just above 3900, 39.15, 20 region. And we've seen some positivity come through this afternoon ahead of the FOMC minutes tonight. Expectation that perhaps we start to see the Fed and the FOMC blink, or are they going to take a pause, get the 250 basis point hikes in, and then take a step back in terms of their more hawkish rhetoric. So that's been a more potentially more dovish tone looking forward to the FOMC this evening, which has just helped the risk mood this afternoon. A bit more positivity coming in. Nothing too much. We're just stalling again up at some of the highs here in the S&P, but the correlation's working quite nicely here. We saw euro dollar just set back off the highs through the course of the European session, again just in line with a bit of a safe haven bid for the dollar. But ultimately here we're just looking at a 4-hour chart. Big uptrend has been established now. Of course, Christine Lagarde finally starting to follow through with the more hawkish rhetoric. Expectations, of course, for the ECB now to look at rate hikes into July. That's, of course, supported this move in euro dollar higher. Now, we have seen a pullback to these previous highs on the 5th of May. So resistance becoming support and just supporting and just enabling this uptrend to continue. And if we just look at 30-minute, it's just this low. Again, it's the low of the week, really. This was set in just at the start of the US session back on Monday. So support coming in here, euro dollar moving higher. That's in line with the general risk on tone, a bit of dollar weakness. So what we're seeing here is just a little bit of a bid coming in here for Kiwi dollar again with just that risk mood. So the initial move hawkish from the RBNZ, the turnaround move back lower, general risk sentiment. I don't think particularly RBNZ or Kiwi driven. I think more dollar driven and general risk off tone for the European session. And now we're just looking to see if Kiwi can re-establish itself and trade slightly higher as these indice markets just have a run up towards these highs ahead of these FOMC minutes. So an interesting move, a bit of volatility there. Let's just have a quick look at this Kiwi on the lower time frames and just have a look and see. Very tricky to have got involved here. Let's just bring this slightly larger view. Quite tricky to have been involved here, really. We can see the pause at that level. Should you have wished to try and straddle this, perhaps opportunities to have looked for a move through this sort of, looks like this region here is actually not too bad. See previous support broke, little retest, and then the clean move back through it. So opportunity is certainly long, would have been back up through these highs, with opportunity short looking back down through some of these lows. It's very knee-jerk reaction, difficult to try and capture that and get involved, certainly for myself tucked up and fast asleep in bed. But no real follow through from that move today. Again, these risk assets, they're really trading alongside indice markets and overall risk tones at the moment rather than sort of monetary policy. So all eyes this evening now will look to move towards the FOMC minutes. Are they gonna flinch? Are they gonna blink? Are we gonna see a slight slowdown, as perhaps a more dovish tone? Certainly the market pricing that in at the moment through this Asian session, which has seen a really nice positive run back to these highs in the S&P 500. So for the RBNZ, targets are 1 to 3% inflation. In order to achieve that, we're going to see some pretty substantial rate hikes coming forward, 50 basis point leading the way last night. Of course, we'll keep eyes for any deviations from this, but expectation, as we said now, we're looking for around another 50 basis point hike as we come into September of this year. So any deviation from there will be on the lookout now from markets. But for now, things are all still looking pretty rosy for the Kiwi. Certainly if we see that more dovish rhetoric from the FOMC tonight, we could see Kiwi continue higher, make our way through the round number and onwards to the next levels. Those next levels, major resistance I think coming in around here, previous highs set back in April and May, so it's not too far up above this round number. I don't think we can be looking to go too far through that. Somewhere in and around this region I think as resistance, but a fair way to go yet if we wish to get up to there. So plenty of trading opportunities if we can see some follow through. Okay, that's all from us here for today's market snapshots. Please do join us again as we go through the week for further market insights and of course our weekly market insights on Friday. Bye for now, folks.